Okay, so let's go to SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, click here and you can say open, right? So now when you click on it, okay, and it will take, of course, some time for it to come up. Let it come. Okay, so this is what I was saying, like, okay, if you see here, I have Windows authentication option by default, okay, and by default it has taken
Yes,
my
yes, I
login.
can see. I've done all of that. Yeah, I've done
No, no,
Windows
no, no,
authentication. I've done SQL Server.
no. Okay,
Yeah.
just wait. So you'll see this username here, right? This username
Okay.
will be exactly same as the username that you would have logged in before earlier while downloading the or installing the SQL Server, right? How many logins do you have on your laptop? One login or multiple login?
Mhm. Just one login. Okay. While installing, I just installed it. I never put in any
No.
username.
See, you don't have to. Okay, it reads from your Windows domain controller.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like when you start your computer,
Okay.
right? First time, it will pick your username password automatically. So even if you go and change your password, right?
Okay.
When you do all control delete, you get the change password, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So okay, so in that, when you change your password, you have option to change password, isn't it? So when you change password, even SQL Server will be able to pick those password automatically. So you don't have to do password management from SQL Server.
Okay.
Okay. In fact, like, when you are in
Mm-hmm.
network and if you have multiple logins, you can even add the username. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to know their password to add. You just add their username, and it, because again, it is Microsoft product, right? So it knows how to read from domain controller, and you can read your password automatically. You don't have to give. Okay, so if you can click connect, and I'm 99% hopeful that this will help you to connect to SQL. I mean, the studio. If this is not connecting, just take a screenshot and send me in the WhatsApp, like, what's the error.
This is connecting.
Then that's it. No, you don't need anything else.
No, no, like I was just selecting the second option, SQL Server authentication, and then the
Correct.
SA and then
So
password. I'm talking about that.
correct. So now in that case, you go to security. Okay, expand this. You see login here.
Yeah.
Expand the login.
Logins.
Okay. Do you see
Yeah.
SA here?
Yeah.
If you see SA, that means
Yeah, I see SA.
you see SA, that means you have already added. Okay. And if you don't remember the password, just right click
Yeah.
on it. Okay. Say click on properties. Okay. SQL Server is very easy to manage.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you see the password here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you don't remember the
Yeah.
password, you can change the password, of course. You can directly change the password here. Like yesterday, I did
Oh,
that.
I've done all of this yesterday. It doesn't work.
It should work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And on status, I went and did enabled also. It still doesn't work.
Okay. Okay. And you see option here, when you say default database is master. So you have multiple databases. Okay. And when you log in using SA, this is the default database that you will have access to. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, just try this. Okay, this should help you. Okay, now you can have this option server roles, and you can select with what all options you want to give. Okay, so generally how we generally work is this SA and Windows login will have the admin privileges, right? And you might end up no, anyway, we are learning here, so here it doesn't matter, but I'm talking about the production or the actual scenario. You might by mistake delete something. So what we do is you log in first time using
Okay.
your SA or Windows login, go and create a login username for yourself. Okay. And keep using that username for your work, because that is a normal login. Okay. So you won't be able to, even by mistake, be able to, edit those admin settings. Okay. And of course, when you need to do something admin like adding username, password, you have this Windows login option. You don't have to manage it because it can
Mhm.
easily read the password from domain. So you don't even have to manage it. That's why, Windows NT login is the best login, But SA you can be shared
Mhm.
with multiple people. Like in job, there'll be multiple people admin managing a single database server. So if you have a SA password, you can share, but you can't share your own password, isn't it? So you have to make everybody as the admin of the database. Okay. So yes, but we won't be getting too much into this kind of security and things like that. These are the job of, I told you, DBAs, database administrators. Okay, how to manage security
Yes, yes.
settings. Okay, security, the server objects. Okay, trigger is here. We will talk about it. Replication is backup. How to make a backup, right? What happens if your server crashes, right? You should have the backup database always on high availability. So this is about how to make sure that database is
But
available
like,
for, yeah.
how do I log in with SA?
No, so if let me close it, okay, and let me type again, okay. You log in here, you click here, and then from drop down, okay, you can select whichever login you want to, okay. Let it run for some time. Give me a second. Okay, so from here you can drop down, you see, SQL Server authentication. Okay, you can say SA, right? You can type like your SA username password, or you can type your the new username that you might have created for yourself. Okay, so you can give the username
Yeah,
password
I
here.
have done all of this yesterday. Like, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's not working. It says sometimes 18546 error.
So yeah, you send me the screenshot, okay? I'll see. So if I remember, yesterday I gave SA 123456, right? Let's connect. See, it got connected. I got connected. Okay. So you just send me the screenshot. I'll just see, what could be wrong there.
Okay, fine. Mine is 19 version.
That mine is also 19. And doesn't
Okay,
matter
yours
with
is
the
18.12, I think.
okay. Oh yeah, mine is 18. Sorry. Yes, I installed it before. Correct. So but doesn't matter, okay? It's the same thing, whether it's 19 or 22, it's the same thing. That's the basic stuff, okay? The login thing is basic, that probably won't change much. Okay, you send me the screenshot, I'll let you know. Okay. So we have this open here. Okay. Um so the purpose of Manon Studio is like, it provides a UI interface. Okay. And SQL Server always had this, even before it was not um, popularly used in high big database kind of scenarios, but they always had this. Okay. Oracle built it slowly. Earlier versions of Oracle didn't have this. You have to go to command and you have to type all the commands. Here, you just use mouse cursor, move around, right click, left click. Okay. And you get your things done. Okay. Then let's look at the different components here, right? What do you see? What are the different screen here? Okay. So what are the different screen that you can see? That this is called Objects Explorer. You see the name here? Okay. This is called Objects Explorer. Okay. So Object Explorer is important because you can actually easily move from one database to another. Okay. And here you have connect. You can say database engine, integration services. Okay. We'll focus on database engine only for now. Okay, the analysis integration service we'll see later. Okay, so you can connect to database engine. Okay, so using whatever username password, like say you want to change the user. Let's say you logged in using your own username password, but now you need to do something admin stuff. Okay, so you can go and change to your admin username password. Okay, now here you see something which is blank. Okay, this is where you can see which database currently you are working on. Currently, which database you are working on, you can see it from here. Okay, right now you don't see any database here, right? It's disabled. So how do we enable it? Okay, you go and select the database. So these are the database that we have internal. These are created automatically. System databases are created automatically by the database, by the SQL Server when you install. And if you have somebody else, somebody else has already created a database, you can, okay, you can attach that database here. So, I have already shared one video where you can see how to install these two, right? So of course you can install these two, but you don't have to install these two. Okay, so this two will be helpful when we get into doing SQL practice. Okay, SQL practice, we need a lot of data. Okay, that's when we will go to this. For now, we will learn, we'll work with a master database itself. So when you expand the master database, you can see all the components, all the objects of master database. So you have system databases, inside you have master database, inside that you have tables, views. Okay, now I want to see the tables that are there. Okay, so you have system tables, external tables, and graph tables. Okay, so these are all inbuilt table. Okay, there is no external table here. Okay, now I want to use this database. I'll say right click, okay, new query. I want to fire a query on this database. Okay, when I click on it, you see a query editor has come up. Okay, and you can see here now, you can see this is enabled, and you can see here master. That means whatever I do here will happen, will go to master database. Okay, and now you can see all these databases here. So if I type, okay, there's no external table. Let's say we use SPT monitor. So if I say select is a command which is used to read the content from the database, right? And SQL Server, okay, or that for that matter, we are running a SQL command here, SQL. SQL is different than SQL Server, right? SQL Server is the product name. Okay, so I just told you yesterday that it has no link with server or SQL. SQL Server is a product name, and okay, and your name could be anything, right? If your name is Superman, doesn't mean that you are the Superman, right? Your name is Superman. So here, SQL Server is the database name, but SQL is the program that we are going to learn to work with this. Okay, so when I say select, so I'm saying to the database that I want to read information from you. Okay, fine. What do you want to read? So I want to read all the information. So select star. Okay, I want to read all the information from you. Okay, but from which table you want to read all the information? So I'll say from. Okay, DBO. Okay, dot SPT underscore monitor. See, it is even recommending it. The moment I say DBO and master, it knows all the data tables in master with DBO, right? I'll say SPT monitor. So you have typed this command here. Now you click on execute. Okay, so execute, right? So you have Object Explorer. This is the query editor. This is the database selector. You click on execute, and this is your output screen at bottom, right? So this table has only one column. How many how many columns it has? It doesn't have only one column. How many columns it has? How many columns? Tell me, count and tell me.
11.
12.
12.
How many
12.
11? How many 12?
12.
12. Okay, I thought you'd all get it right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right?
11. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's 11 columns. Okay. And each of these are, of course, column title, right? Last run, CPU busy, idle, etc. How many rows it has?
1.
Yes. So row also has this counter here. Okay, because rows can get into larger size, right? So you can see this counter here. Okay, so it has 1 row. Okay, 1 row, and of course, the last run is the date. It tells you the date. Okay, on which date it was run, and this is the hours, minutes, seconds to a microsecond, right? 40.483. That's the time. It helps when you want to measure the query performance. Okay, there you need time to that extent. And all this looks like numbers, right? So, okay, so here we type the query and you get the output here. Okay. What else you need to know? Let's say if you have a see, this is IntelliSense enabled. IntelliSense is the prediction, right? Now, if I disable this, so now if I disable this, okay, now when I say DBO dot, see, it is not giving you that information, right? So if you don't like it, you can disable this IntelliSense. IntelliSense is now you'll find in almost all the editors, all the good editors. Okay, but of course Microsoft has built in has also built in its products. Okay, but it's always good to have this. Okay, you don't have to worry about the spelling mistake. Okay, the best part is, of course, it helps you to do things faster, but at the same time, you can sometimes like monitor, right? I might miss O here, right? So when I say dot, I can directly select. Okay, so this is IntelliSense. You want to have another editor. Let's say you want to practice something else in parallel. You can click on new query. So it'll create another tab here. Okay, so you can actually connect to some other database in one tab, another database here. So let's say if you click on this query, it is master here, right? I click on this, I can select, let's say, okay, रूपाली चार्जर निकल वो लगाओ, जल्दी 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 लगाओ, उसको बोलता हूँ बैटरी लैपटॉप डाउन हो जाएगा मेरा, कुछ भी दे दो, कुछ भी लगा दो, ये फोल्ड करके जल्दी, बैटरी मेरा चार्जर, बैटरी लगता ही नहीं है लैपटॉप में. Sorry guys, there was a power cut and my laptop charger went down. I can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So now you see here, okay, this query I have connected to AdventureWorks, and this query editor has also is active and connected to master. So you can work with parallel database. Okay, you can run a parallel query, okay, at same time. So this query editor I have linked with here, and this query editor I have linked it with here. Okay. There are other things like cancel executing. This is the one, right? Where this is query option. This is parse. You see this square button here, right? Disable.
Yeah.
So play button is to execute the query. But let's say if query is too big, okay, and it's taking a lot of time, okay, and you want to stop it, you can force stop it by this square button. Okay, we'll learn how to do the parsing the query also. We'll do. Okay, so yeah, we'll do. So if you want to comment and uncomment, right? Let's say I want to write another query, but I want to comment this. So it got commented. So see, hyphen hyphen, two minus sign is used to comment a SQL query. Every programming language has its own set of commands to comment. In SQL Server, we comment using hyphen hyphen. Okay, or data SQL basically. Okay, you comment using hyphen. Now again,
What does comment mean? Sorry
okay,
for interrupting.
no problem. Comment means, okay, you don't want the program or the software, okay, to read that line. You're not deleting it, but you don't want the program to read it. So for example, if I run it now, okay, nothing happened because
Oh,
because I have commented. Commented means I'm saying to the software, whatever software you're using, that please ignore this. This is not for you. So you might be
okay.
trying 3-4 things, right? You want to try one, next one to try something else, and you don't want first one to run. So you can comment it. And you can comment multiple lines. Okay, you can uncomment here using this. Oh, sorry, that was for something getting into the thing. Okay, so comment and uncomment, right? So this is how you can uncomment, and this is to comment it. Okay, you have multiple lines, 30-40 lines. One line you can easily say double slash, but you have 30-40 lines, then you will have to use these. These are again very helpful buttons. Okay, there are other things. You can save the query. You can click on save and you can save the query. Let's say you have written few queries and you want to save. Obviously, you want to save those files, right, for future reference. You can click on save all. Okay. Okay. So yes, this is what I wanted to show you before we get into few more things. Now, let's say I want to create a new database. Like, you want to, we discussed about library project, right? Okay, if you have watched the video, we discussed about library project. Theoretically, we created a database then. Okay, so let's say I want to create my own database called library. So I go on database and right click and say new database. Okay, click on new database. Here, I'll give the database name. Okay, database name is library. Okay, so see here. I told you, like what you see on the screen, the table and all these are logical way to store the data. But ultimately, data has to be stored in some table, some file, isn't it? So when you create a database, okay, new database, two files gets created. One is called primary file, okay, and second called log file. So log file, whatever query that you run will be saved in log. You can disable the log. Okay, let's say you are practicing and you don't want the log to become heavy. You can disable log. You say that, no, I don't want log. Disable the log. So, we are running a query again, undoing it, doing it, undoing, right? Multiple stuff you will do. So, the log is captured. Now, it is important because when you when you are in the production environment, okay, and let's say customer has complained that, something is not working, something is broken, something broke, right? When something broke, right, how do you know what command did the user run so that it broke? So that's when you can go to log and you can go through the time at which thing broke and what are the queries that were run around that time. So you know exactly the commands that were run. So log will capture your command. Okay, library will capture your data. So generally your log will be lighter, but it keeps growing. Okay, so initial size, you see, we say here initial size is 8 MB. So when you create this file, okay, the two new files will be created where this is the location where this file is created, path. Okay, and the initial size of that size will be 8 MB. Okay, and when you start adding data, it's like a bag. The size of the bag is 8 MB. right? And after some time, when your bag is full, correct? Your bag is full. Now you need a bigger size bag, right? When you need a bigger size bag, it will give you add another 64 MB. Okay, so it says auto grow. Auto growth. Auto growth means your file size will keep on growing automatically. You don't have to worry about, if what happens if my the file is about 2 MB. Okay. And what is the max size of the file? Unlimited. So it will keep on growing by adding 64 MB every time. Let's say 8 MB, right? After 8 MB, it becomes 64 plus 8, 72, right? After when the data is now 72 MB, it again increases by 64 MB. Okay. And this will go on, and of course, it will run into GBs after some time, and it will keep on going. Okay. So if you are not, DBAs are responsible for managing this thing, right? So if they are not keeping an attention on the file size, your computer, okay, hard disk will be totally full and becomes a difficult. So there are some tools which you run to indicate that, okay, when the file size is like, if the total consumption of the database is like 90% or something, that's when you start taking a backup. Okay, you take a backup, and again you remove the data that is not required, old data, right? Or you have to add more hard disk to it. Okay, and the storage time, we'll talk about hot storage, cold storage. Okay, cold storage is something that you take offline. Okay, and when you need it, you you add to it. Hot storage is something which is live. You can watch, or you can see the hot storage without any time lag. Cold storage will take some time to give you the information, because that is kept in some other database which is not online. Okay, it is online, but it is not actively on the machine that you are currently working. There is a lot of background noise. Can you go and mute? Let me mute all of you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so yes, so when you create a database, okay, you have to give the database name, and you'll have associated files here. Okay, so library is the main file called primary file. You have secondary. Okay, log file is secondary file. Okay, and these are the things you can change it. Okay, these are things you can change it. Okay, but we'll keep it by default. You can actually see where this file is. You can change it to the drive or location where you want to, but I'll keep it default here. One important thing here is called owner. Owner, okay, is the person who is going to own it. Now, when you say owner, it's a group actually, okay? And when you clicked on the database, right, you saw all DBO dot, right? So DBO is the default owner, okay? DBO, and you can have your own, like, it's like, these are like sub databases. You have a database, inside that you have sub database kind of. Okay, so by default it goes to all DBOs. Okay, so so when you say owner, okay, by default DBO, you can create your own owner as well, but we'll have a default one. Okay, so this is your general. Then you have options here. Okay, options, recovery model, full. Now these things you don't have to worry about. Okay, but you can see these are the headache for DBAs. So when you do a DBA thing, you have to understand each of these component, what it means. Okay. But just to show you, these are the properties, associated with file, and it is important for DBAs because they are very important for them to. It is very important for them to make sure that database is up and running, isn't it? Okay, and file groups. Okay, so primary. Okay, and you have your this one, right? You can make it read only or default, auto grow, right? So by default it is auto grow, so we don't have to do anything else. Okay, so what we just gave the database name, everything it has taken by default, and if you want you can change it. Now watch this button here, progress, right? I'm going to say add. Okay, add is to add another file if you want to. Okay, sometimes you might want to keep a two log. Okay, one on your machine and one on another machine, so that even if your machine crash, second machine will have a log here. Okay, so you can do that, but in our case we don't need it, so remove. Now you say, okay, progress executed, database library is created. See, this library is created here. Okay. Now, by default, all these things are added to it. When you create a database, based on the properties that we have set, all these things will be created. Database diagrams, we'll talk about it. We will actually need to draw this database diagram. Okay. This is part of our discussion. We have to draw database diagram. Okay. Then what else? You have this tables, views. Okay. Okay, and all these things we'll talk about step by step, but we'll be using first three database diagrams. So if you open table, okay, you have system table, file tables, external tables, graph tables. System tables will be the system table that DB or the SQL Server will create. Okay, so here we don't have anything, correct? Now, file tables is where what we create will be added. Okay, external tables are something that you link some outside database to this. That's when the external table will come. But whatever we do will be added to file tables. Okay, now what I'll do, I'm going to close all this query. Okay, they're asking me to save because it's not saved. The start sign, you see, start sign indicate that you have not saved this file so far. Let's say you saved this file and then you make some more change. The star will appear. Star indicate that you have not saved. Okay, so don't close it. Don't, if you want to save everything, you have to make sure that star is not there. That means you have all the information saved. But here I don't want to save it, so I can say no, I don't want to save it. Okay, here also I'll say I don't want to save it, gone. Now I go to library, right click, and I say new query. So this is linked to library here. Okay, now whatever I do, this will be linked to, the database that we created, library database that we created. Okay. Okay. Now tell me, to create a table, we want to create our first table. What are the things that we need to know when we create a table?
Like how many rows we need, like
Sorry, how many?
Sir, how to create that query? Right
No,
click on.
not query. We'll not talk about query, but information that you need to know to create a table.
No, I'm talking about like how did you create this page? Right click on file tables.
Library, right click on library and say new query.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so
So
you
we
get,
need to know how many rows and columns. do
no,
we
you
need
don't
to-
need to know rows. Yeah, rows will keep growing, right? If you have one student, it will be one. Later it can be 100, right? So you don't need to know rows,
Okay.
but you need to know the columns.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you need to know the columns, yes. But before that, you need to know the name of the table. What name should I give to my table? Correct? So table name. Now see, I'm putting double hyphen and writing here so that, even if I run, SQL will not give error, right? So first thing that you need to know is table name, correct? Then you need to know the columns, how many and which all column names, right? And then you need to know the data type of each column. Okay, and then you need to know what are your keys, right? Primary key, foreign key, etc. Okay, but this is the basic stuff, right? Only when you know, you can go to column and table and then you can create keys and all, right? So first thing that we need to know are how many data types are there in SQL Server or SQL. Okay, so because when we create our columns, we have to define the type of the column. Not only SQL, any programming language you take, when you define any value, you have to also say what data type you need to add to it, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to this table here, okay, and I'll say data types, okay. And instead of this, let me create a table, insert, 3 should be good. Okay, so we'll talk about here the data type itself. Okay, the description, meaning, and the range that it can have. Okay, so the very basic data type is called bit. Okay, those who have done Python on, and of course all of you will be doing Python. Some of you have already done, some of you will be doing. We have different data types in Python. Okay, here basic things are same, right? We discussed, right? Integer, number, text, date. Okay, these are the basic thing, but different languages call it differently, right? So that's why you have to remember. Okay, so first one is called bit. Okay, it can only store, store 0, 1, or it can even be null, empty, right? So range is 0 to 1, correct? You can't have more than 1 here, and you can't have less than 1. So bit is, again, talking about taking forward yesterday's discussion, we discussed that hardware and software, right? So hardware is basically nothing but machines, right? It's like any normal machine, right? You have a table lamp, fan, something like that. You have a computer. Just that computer has a lot more RAM, like brain and hard disk, unlike table fan, which does not have those things into it, right? But it's also like a machine. So how does the information that you put in computer is saved? The lowest level is called bit. Okay, so lowest level of information is called bit. Okay, 8 bits make 1 byte. Okay, and then that's how you see the size as kilobyte, megabyte, okay, gigabyte, right? So now you know how many values you can store when you have a kilobyte. Okay, as the basic storage, we call it bit. Okay, and we read information as 1 byte. Okay, so how many byte can you store? If you can store 1024 byte, we call it as kilobyte. Okay, 1024 into 1024, that is your megabyte. Multiply that with 1024 is your GB, gigabyte, right? And you keep on multiplying 1024, you will end up getting higher this thing. Okay, so machine understands only power on and power off, correct? Machine doesn't understand anything else. It is power on and power off. So how we encode numbers, okay, or not numbers, any information in database or in computer is, when power is off, we say it is 0, and when power is on, we say it is 1. Okay, so each bit, okay, you can imagine it to like a we call that as some cards. Okay, okay, so it's like this. Okay, so you have multiple dots here, like each of these are bit, right? Each of these are bit. Now assume this blue color is 1. Okay, now if you make it opaque, light will not pass through it. So that is, light is off. See, when you switch on the computer, light is, so it reads the light. If you are able to read the light, it is 1. So in this case, these are opaque, right? So assume that these are your zeros, or everything is zeros, right? Now if I make it transparent, okay, if I make it transparent, light can pass through it. So this will be read as 1 in computer. Okay, so each of these is called bit. So how much information can you store in 1 bit? Either 0 or 1 only, correct? If light passes through it, it is 0, but it is 1. If light doesn't pass through it, it is 0. So maximum you can save only one information, either 0 or 1. Now, if I make this one also as transparent, now how much information can you store in this? So what are the possible values here? Speak up, don't be scared to get wrong, okay? We are
Yes.
learning here.
2 bits.
So I don't want everybody to be silent, okay? Right or wrong, don't worry. This is not an interview.
2 bits.
1 and 1.
2-bit, right? So yes, it can store 0, 0, correct? I mean, both can be 0, or it can be 0, 1, correct? It can be 1, 0, it can be 1, 1. That means it can store only 4 information. Only 4 numbers it can store. Yes? And again, if you know binary number system, you'll be able to figure out 0, 0 is 0, 0, 1 is 1, 1, 0 is 2, 1, 1 is 3. So if you use 2-bit, you can only save information like 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1 in binary format, or in our decimal format, it is 0, 1, 2, 3 only. So 2-bit, you can only save 0 to 3. If I add one more bit here, then how much? Okay, so you'll have 8 options. Okay, so everything is 0, same, and then same this thing with 1. Right? So 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, because binary, right? 2 power 3, 2 power 4, okay, 2 power 5. That's why when I said multiply with 1024, you get kilo, multiply with 1024. Why 1024? Because 1024, you'll get 2 power 8, I think. Just try 2 power 8 or 2 power 7. I think 2.8 only. 2 power 8 will give you, okay, I can use Python, okay, and this will do it later, you know. So I can say 2 power 8, 256, okay. No, but ours is 1024, right? So 2 power 9, 2 power 10. Okay, yes, sorry. It is not 2 power 8, it is 2 power 10. Okay, so 2 power 10 is 1024. That's why when you say multiply 10, why not 1000? Why not, 2000? Okay, we have taken 2 power 10 as a reference because this is the closest number you can get to 1000. Okay, because if you do 9, you will get 500, half of 1000. If you do 11, you will get much larger than 1000, right? 2000. So this number is closer to 1000. Generally, in our metric system, we say gram, right? Then how many grams make 1 kilogram? 1000 grams make 1 kilogram, isn't it? So we generally go by thousands. So here it is going by 1000, but not exactly 1000, but 1024, because this is the closest number you can get when you do the binary system. Okay, so 2 power 10 is 1024. That's why I have to multiply every time with 1024 into mega to get giga, right? Okay, so when you say bit, now coming back to our presentation here, when you say bit here, okay, it is one space and can only store 0 or 1, right? Then you have tiny int. Tiny int will store value from 0 to 255. Okay, now 0 to 255, it will not allow you to enter minus number. Okay, so sometimes you don't need minus numbers. There you can use tiny int. Tiny int. Okay, so 255 means how many bit it uses? 2 power 8. Correct. 2 raised to 8. That means you have 8 bit, 1 byte. Remember? That's what I told you, right? 8 bit makes 1 byte. So this is tiny int, nothing but 1 byte. So you can store only 255 characters. So 0 to, if you allow negative, then it becomes minus 124 2 plus, no, yeah. minus 125 to plus 124, right? But values it can have is only 255 total value. Now what you store is up to you, right? So tiny int will store 0 to 255. Similarly, you have small int, you have int, okay, okay, int is like 2 power 31, okay, that's the size, okay, and it allows both plus and minus, okay. So it's almost like minus 2 million, okay. You can we can do it. I'll update in the notes exact value, but it is around 2 million to plus 2 million. Okay, this is around 2 power 15, so 32,000 something. Okay, so minus 32,000 to plus 32,000. Now you tell me, to storing number, we are talking about bit, tiny int, small int, int. Okay, why not we use int? Okay, even if you have big int also. Okay, big int has a very large value. It's like 2 power 63. Okay, 2 power 63 minus 2 plus. Okay, so minus 2 power 63. You can imagine the size, right? Minus 2 power 63 to plus 2 power 63 minus 1, we say. Minus 1 because 0 will take one value, right, from positive side. So, that's the size. Okay, here it is minus 2 power, this is int, right? So int is about 64, right? No, 64 is here, 32. So 2 plus 2 power 32 minus 1. This is 16, this is 8, right? 2 power 8, 2 power 16, right? Now you tell me, why do we need to know this size? Why can't we use int for everything? Why can't we use big int for everything?
The system has to allocate that much of space.
System has to allocate that much of space, exactly. Now let's say you are in a town for 1 day or 2 days, okay. Why would you book the entire hotel suite? You don't need to book all the hotel rooms, isn't it? You are only one of you, right? One room is enough for you, right? What happens if you book entire hotel? You can book, right? Okay, but you have to spend so much of money, isn't it? So if you assign everything as integer, if you're adding simple number 2 plus 3, to add 2 plus 3, which you can manage within tiny int, okay, and you're taking a lot of space, memory space that you're taking, right? So to effectively manage your program, you need to have this idea. Don't just blindly say int everywhere, right? So for example, if you talk about I'm just trying to think. Okay, your marks, let's say marks hardly will be more than 4 digit, 5 digit, right? So each subject mark will be under 2 digit only. I'm just giving an example. So each subject mark you can define as tiny int. Total maybe you can define as small int, right? Because total will go beyond 255. And marks may, assuming that marks may not be negative, right? Lowest marks can get is 0. So if you're talking about marks, you will use tiny int, not small int, right? Total, yes. Okay. Average, okay. So average is a not integer. Okay. Average is your float. We'll talk about it. Decimal, called decimal. Okay. So all these are your integer type. Okay. Let me delete. Sorry. The mic is not proper. I'm not able to hear you if somebody is talking. I'm getting background noise, but I can't understand anything. How do I cut it? Okay. So these are your integer types. Integer means no number with no decimal point. No decimal value, whatever you can call it. Sorry guys, I have to put you on mute again because I'm getting a lot of bad echo, not good echo, bad echo from background. Yeah, Nimesh, I'm muting you. Okay, so if you want to talk, you can unmute and talk. Okay, so this is integer data type. Similarly, we have float, real, date, time. Okay, we'll stop here today. We'll talk about those things tomorrow. Okay, and then we will learn to create a table. We'll create our first table, not tomorrow, sorry, day after, right? We're meeting day after. So we'll learn to create our first table day after. Is that fine?
Yeah. So tomorrow we don't have class.
No.